what you say. Pop long lies, we're here to stay. No fake rules, no corporate chains. We're calling out your lying games. Shut the fuck up, we're breaking through. Speaking truth like we always do. No stop, see, no word, no sound. Pulse unite, we stand our ground. Raise your voice, shout out loud. When the misfits lost in the crowd. No surrender, no backing down. This revolution's underground. Shut the fuck up, we're breaking through.
What's up, fam? How you guys doing? Sunday night. Tonight I got Dan Smotz on, who I've had on my show before, but it's been like a while, probably almost 2 years, maybe a year and a half. Both of our lives were like really different at the time. Like I didn't have a kid. He had a different thing going on, but he's still like grinding, making awesome videos and doing his thing. He released an album, I think, before last time I came on. He came on the show with his band, and that was a whole thing because I think he almost got canceled in his local scene or something for being too based or some shit. So anyway, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're gonna kind of touch on some of the like underground Christianity stuff, some of the bands we listen to, and we'll see where the conversation goes as always. So Dan, welcome to the show. Good to have you back, buddy.
Hello.
How you been, man? What's new?
Good. Not much is new. I mean, lots of things are new. My camera stopped working. That is not new. That is pretty standard, actually, for every time I start anything on the internet. Yeah, I am happily married, and I am living a great life, working from my home and making videos such as the new Thomas Massey mini doc that Tom Woods and I are working on right now. So.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Do you have any idea like when the world is going to be able to see that?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say. We actually just set a release date today, but it should be within the next few weeks, I would say.
Awesome. I like that. You have like actually like a pretty fast turnaround compared to some other videographers that I know. Like in my experience, I've had like videographers for like music videos or whatever. They'd like hold on to the videos for like, I feel like months before they would even turn us over a final copy. Maybe it's because they're perfectionists, but dude, like the work you do is amazing. And like, I know you're like probably kind of a perfectionist too. I know like, and like any art that you could possibly make, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I wish I had done this differently. Right.
Yeah.
But like, I've always appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of horror stories about a lot of videographers and about things just never coming back. There's only been a few projects in my time that I haven't sent back. And guys, I'm getting to it. I'll get to it any day now, I swear. But for the most part, I mean, I do it for a living. So I have all day to work on these things. And I did it as a side job. And I know how hard it is to get to, to some of those projects when it is your side hustle. So it is what
it's great. Yeah. Lauren McIntyre said, this is our video guy, people. That's where we are. Our video guys losing camera in the show. Yeah, man. So I think we like had touched on like how you got started. I know you do like a lot of like projects like wedding videos and stuff like that. I know that you did Jeremy Coffin's campaign videos. Those were bangers. Mm-hmm. And I know that there might be conversation of you doing more of those at some point soon, which would be incredible. So, yeah, man, like you're like the best we got over here. Like you're based and you're really, really good at what you do.
Thank you.
Music wise, like what's happened since last time we talked? Like, I know your band, like last time, like you had put out your album, absolute banger. Your release show, I think, didn't you have to like reschedule it because a bunch of bands dropped because they were like being complete?
They looked on the internet when I was covering some things during Pride Month and didn't like my takes on things and insisted that I was an evil person, and they spread it around the neighborhood, and some people were big mad for a second, and then we ended up rescheduling with different bands, and everything was fine. But that band has, I mean, we had plans to do some more things and write some more things, and we've written a few things. I've written things that I've written things and then thrown them out. That's how long it's been. And like moved on from subject matter that I was writing about even before we could get to actually getting together to write more things. And we're all just dads and dudes, and we get together when we can and write stuff. But with some of this stuff and some of my old projects that I still hadn't released, I told the rest of the guys in that band, I'm going to take some of this stuff and form it into, my plan is to form it into a solo album with some of the stuff that I hadn't released in the past, which there's albums and tons of shit that I haven't released for all the projects, basically. So taking some of my favorite stuff that never got released and putting it together for something completely different, and putting that out and seeing where that goes. So
that is awesome. That would be awesome, man. I know that like the last live show I played with a band was like in 2020, so it's been a long time for me. But like I still have like all these songs that I'm just sitting on. Have considered doing something similar where you just put them all together, rebrand them, and put them out, you know, re-record them and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I do like I have a cover band also where we actually play acoustic-y piano ballady renditions of emo songs like My Chemical Romance and Linkin Park and shit like that. So that is, as far as the live stuff, that actually gets me my fill at the moment, because that's like 4 hours of, you know, playing covers and shit and getting actually paid for that rather than trying to sell original content at this point. So I'm to the point where I'm like, I'll write studio albums, and if anything ever comes of playing those out live, fine. But until then, I'm gonna, you know, play.
And emo nights are so much fun.
For it. Yeah,
like there's so much fun because like you're all getting together, like everyone, like I don't know, like the emo night at Pork Fest, you know, like that was a blast too. But like, you know, if you go out to like any emo night, most of the time it's going to be a crowded show. Like a bunch of people our age living in nostalgia, and they can't escape it because it's all we live for. And you know, like it's always a good time. And like when there's a live band or live performance, it's even better. So I know like the ones that are here in New Hampshire, they're always with like a live band. They don't do like DJ sets very often up here. So it's like always like a live band playing for 4 hours straight, which I'm sure is exhausting. Like you can speak to that.
Good time though.
Yeah,
especially, you know, if it's if the bar is covered for the band members, you know, I'll play all night.
Oh man. I still missed out on bringing you up for teenagers during emo night a couple years ago.
You did.
That was
you did miss out. I tried to help you, but you could have been so much bigger by now, man.
I know, man. I know.
You could have been the chair of the national party, not just the New Hampshire
don't
party
put that shit on me, Ricky Bobby. Oh fuck. Not interested. Yeah.
But you could have been sued by now.
Yeah, I could have been sued by now. That's all they like to talk about is policy manual changes and suing each other at this point. So I'm going to be stepping out real soon. Long story short, but yeah. So anyway, so like, you know, you've been doing that. You've got your music. You're kind of doing that, dabbling in that. But like really, like the music that like helped, I don't know, kind of like shape you as a person is a lot of the same music that I listened to growing up. Like my favorite band was, you know, MXPX and Emery. I know you like the Classic Crime. I know you like I've talked to like Matt McDonald and stuff, and you know, but like
not covering the Classic Crime after I debated him about Flat Earth and he told me I was retarded. Now I'm making money off of him anyway.
That's so good though. But I think like one of my favorite people was definitely Josh Dyes. Like Josh Dyes Showbread is like one of those bands that just like broke all the rules. Like I was raised in like a very like fundamental Baptist Christian home. So like that kind of music was just not allowed. Like you're not allowed to listen to that stuff. Like they have like long hair, mascara, black nail polish on. And you know, like for all intents and purposes, most people will like listen to that music or see those people and be like, those guys are gay. But like really, like,
It turns out it was the Newsboys that were gay all along.
it turns out it was all of their favorite people, like Matt, what's his name? Tate. Yeah, Michael Tate.
Yep.
Newsboys. And but like Josh Dies, he went off to be like a pastor, and you could probably hear my baby screaming in the background, and I apologize for that.
It's all good.
But yeah, like Josh Dies went off to be like a pastor and stuff, and he's had quite a journey. And I think that like that kind of like music, I remember like I used to record music videos on I think it was like Radio U, TVU Live or something like that. I put them on a VHS tape, and then I'd take it to my grandpa's house, who was also fundamental Baptist, and I'd watch the videos. And as soon as Showbread came on, he's like, thought I was bringing demons into his home. You know what I mean?
Radio, TVU, and Radio, you got so much darker than Showbread too. So
yeah,
there was some stuff on there that scared my parents. I had initially, my parents told me that I wasn't allowed to listen to POD, which was my favorite band at the time, because they saw the Southtown video my dad did and said, "You're never going to watch that, or you're never going to listen to that band." Fast forward, 6 years later, he's taken us to Cornerstone to see everything from Showbread to Demon Hunter to POD.
Demon Hunter was one of them. Haste the Day. I got the Haste the Day's first album, and they hated Haste the Day, obviously. And then the Agony Scene was another one, which like a lot of these bands now like are like, they're all like atheists. They've kind of like stepped away from the faith. It's actually kind of like wild. Like a lot of people just use the brand of Christianity to like sell their music. Yeah. But this is like how things work. Like people sell the brand of libertarian to try to sell things, right? And like this is like a very common thing that I'm seeing in the LP right now. Like a theme. So, but there are some people that have been like very consistent though. And I feel like Josh Dies has had like one of those journeys where like he's always been pretty like consistent in like his musical journey. And then, leading into his books, I love his books. Have you read like his more recent one, Art with All Its Teeth?
I started it and I fell off after it seemed like he was going in Aleister Crowley is a brilliant artist direction. And I was like, I say, okay, all right. I'll come back to it. I'm not offended or anything, but I was just like, I don't know.
I found a lot of value in that book actually, but sure. I think like my favorite book of his is one that like, I know that you've read, Death to Deconstruction. And I think that like we both can have related probably to that story in a lot of ways. Just because like, as you grow up, right, like you kind of like start seeing the world is a lot bigger than just the denomination that you're raised in, right? And like naturally you're going to like start thinking about other things. Like, I guess a lot of people like decided they wanted to like go and just deconstruct their faith entirely, which is what that book is about. But the problem is like they don't rebuild anything meaningful to replace it once they deconstruct it. So then you end up with a bunch of people who are autistic libertarians that they decide to like fill that void with like, I don't know, something completely.
They try
miserable,
anarchism
like
and atheism for a while and eventually come back around if they're smart.
Yeah, if they're smart, right? But like I would say like I kind of like talked to you about this a little bit before the show, but like I'd consider myself more of like a non-denominational Christian, but I stopped saying that just because non-denomination is now a denomination. So like I don't like fit with them either. Like I kind of like, you got to kind of be able to like see the whole picture. Like, and I feel like if you actually believe in God, then like, why would you put him inside of a box? That's kind of like my whole spiel about the thing.
Oh, I agree. And I've always, for a long time, have said, a God that is afraid of your questions is not one worth worshiping, or a God, like if God wasn't expecting somebody to question him, then he really fucked up when he made this brain, because like I didn't do this. I didn't come up with this.
Yeah, really, I think naturally, like everything is like the world is so profound that we're gonna ask questions, and people will like try to find answers everywhere. But like I don't think that maybe like I don't think like the Bible necessarily like explains the answers to everything. And I think sometimes you just got to figure shit out, right? And I don't know. I've been going down actually like a really weird rabbit hole lately, and like you can touch on this too. Tell me like what you think about it. But like I've been like studying like Nephilim.
Oh hell yeah, man!
Yeah. So like, I've been like going down.
I was debating Matt McDonald from the classic Crime About Flat Earth like 10 years ago. Yeah, I'm familiar with Nephilim shit, and I'm into all of it. Yeah,
You're
all
into
the
it. Okay.
Genesis stuff. Sure.
Yeah. Like, so do you listen? Have you listened to the Blurry Creatures podcast? The guy
That's
from
Nate,
Sherwood. Right? Do you remember the band Sherwood? Tooth
Yeah,
and
I know
Nail
Nate. I've had him on
Yeah.
my show, and I've been on his show, and
Dude,
great guy.
he is awesome. And I just found out that he had a podcast about this exact thing about cryptids and stuff, and like absolutely fascinating stuff. But like it's taken me down like a whole new like little rabbit hole, and I feel like I feel kind of dumb saying it, but like I feel like I took like a new white pill. Like I can see the world in a different way. Do you like understand what I'm saying?
I do, because those are the happy conspiracies to dig into. They're the fun ones that may or may not have implications to everything in the entire world, the universe, and beyond. Like it's fun to speculate. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of answers being brought up, and even with the flat earth stuff, every time one of those guys puts out a documentary that anybody watches, it's them making fools of themselves, but it's still fascinating, and I kind of tend to believe it. So I don't know where I stand on all that, but I'm open to all of it. And the Nephilim stuff, especially being in the removed books of the Bible and whatnot, I think there's probably something to that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. And like I don't know, like me saying that like publicly, like obviously I told you like Christians are gonna think I'm like a heretic for talking about this. A lot of them, at least like how I was raised up.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I started playing in public music venues, what they would call secular music venues, I was labeled like a hedonist that was like worshiping Satan through my, by the way, Christian pop punk band. So
and you guys prayed on stage before you went up too, right?
Literally prayed on stage before we'd get on stage, and then we would play songs about like literally called like Prodigal Son and just like fun pop punk stuff. You know, that was like my first band ever. And I would get like messages from my like people at church, be like, "Oh, we're praying for you. Like you've gone down a terrible path." It ended up being like, you know, one of the greatest things I ever was able to do, like was the music and, you know, like meeting more people. I think like widening my worldview a lot, and
the camaraderie of the band, and the
absolutely, like,
and all that
whole new community. And like I desperately want to get back to like being a part of like a community that's like similar to that. And like for a little while I thought like maybe the Libertarian Party could do something like that.
Yeah.
And that's I like immersed
wrong.
myself way too deeply in the LP. And like I'm on the LNC, I'm chair of LP&H for now. And
I'll have you on my show sometime to talk about that, because we haven't caught up since then. And it seems like there's a lot there.
There's quite a bit. And like it's not, you know, I have aspirations in my life that like being like in this thing that's so toxic really like prevents me from exceeding and doing well at. Sure. So like that's kind of, you know, my opinion.
It's another box. Like they're all boxes. Like if you can do stuff in certain boxes, but don't get stuck in that box to where you're the that guy or the that girl or whatever. Like I mean, like I'm working on Massey stuff while editing wedding videos at the same time, making music videos and shit. Like just wherever you're supposed to be. And to bring it back to the spiritual side of things, like I think that people were created for a reason. I think that when they are, you know, actually trying to pursue that, they tend to find it more often. And when they're quiet and listen to, I don't know, open their mind to different avenues, they see more breadcrumbs and follow them and find themselves in odder and odder places. But yeah, I'd call that a God thing. Call it what you want, but
and that was like a really long rabbit hole to bring it back to Josh Dies and Death to Deconstruction.
You're welcome. I'm a
that was like a little bit out there, but like really like I really appreciated the book. I think it meant a lot to me. Me and Sean talked about it a little bit about it last week. And like I think that like people like aren't necessarily, when they're like walking away and this stuff, they're not necessarily even walking away from like some of them will like just straight up go atheist, but
Sure.
you know, a lot of times they're more so walking away from like the church baggage because
Yeah.
like it's just like, and I don't like want to keep making this comparison. It's probably terrible, but it's just like the Libertarian Party. Like we have like all this baggage and we bring it on ourselves.
Yep.
And we have all these little denominations inside the Libertarian Party.
And
We all
libertarian
hate-
art is the same as, you know, Christian
And
art.
they're not real
It's Jesus
libertarians.
preaching and shit.
Just-
and that person believes slightly different things. So we've got it all perfectly figured out over here, and they believe slightly different. So they are our enemy for today, and we will have a new enemy tomorrow when somebody else disagrees slightly. It's all cult shit. It's all boxes. It's all whatever. Like, I think if there is this God that created us and created all of us and all of our brains, I think he understands better than any one of us, let alone any cluster of us trying to you know, butt heads with each other and scream at each other until we come to the conclusions of the meanings of the universe. I just don't buy that.
And I think that like there's just like too many times we just kind of get lost in that conversation of trying to figure out like what is real libertarianism, what is real Christianity. And like churches have something to sell you. Like they are, a denomination's going to sell you their brand of Christianity, and that's their job. Like a preacher's going up there to sell you that. And like I have found a lot of value in different types of Christianity and like seeing all these different things, because I think that like there's a much fuller picture you can get when you actually look at all this stuff and don't close yourself off to certain aspects of that. But like I feel like, you know, like I said, in the LP, you got all these different little denominations, factions, caucuses, and they're going to point to the other side and be like, they're not real libertarians. And denominations and Christianity do the same thing. Like they're not Christians. They're not real Christians. So like you almost get like, that's how people end up getting trapped in the box, because they feel like this is the only way to do it. Right. And like the preachers up there telling them like, this is the only way to do it. And like, you know, in a way, like I do think that like there's it's not necessarily like, I'm not saying like put it in a box, but like, you know, there is like certain things that are like the way to, I guess, the way, but like also like, why would you close your mind off to the potential of other opinions? Like if they're not doing anything wrong, they just have a different opinion than you.
Especially
right?
when we're all like arguing about a book that was written God knows how long ago, rewritten God knows how many times, and God knows how many languages, and words that didn't, like, we don't have words for things that they had words for, and they didn't have words for things that we have words for, and we're all just looking at it saying we've got this all figured out because we are right. Please send money. And I don't know. It's like I'm not even convinced in like biblical inerrancy entirely. I'm open to it being possible. Like I'm open to it being entirely the infallible word of God. If it is, I have some questions, but I won't be offended if I, you know, get to heaven or what have you, and God's like, oh, you were paying that, like you were that stressed about that thing. Those were some things that I was giving some nudges to these guys, trying to poke them along, sending them breadcrumbs, and they thought I said go to war and slaughter all the children. I mean, we have that now today. We have presidents who say God said that we need to protect Israel and we need to go slaughter all the children. So I don't think that they're hearing any clearer from God than people were back then, and vice versa. Like I'm open to it being possible that God did say that, and they wrote it down verbatim, and it's been transcribed a million times over, and we've got it perfectly figured out what they had in mind at the time. But I also think it's entirely possible that maybe not, just maybe not, and that doesn't make God any less real, or Jesus any less real, or anything any less real. It's just a possibility.
That's, I mean, and that, I think that like, I think you nailed it. We probably like basically like feel the same way about this thing, right? So, like one question that like I always kind of think, like, do you think it, like a lot of the bands that I grew up listening to that kind of walked away from their faith and like went a different direction, do you think it was all like, for some of them it was probably always a facade, but do you think it was more the culture of the church that pushed them away, or do you think it was the culture of the world that pulled them into them? You know what I'm saying? Like it's very like a kind of a profound question, but
I did ask a great question, didn't I?
Sorry. I like it's a good question because I don't know the answer to this. Like,
Am I quiet? Because my mic was way down.
I can hear you just fine, brother.
Okay.
I think you sound good.
Cool. So the question is, bands that were Christian bands, quote unquote, were they pulled away from that culture, or were they pushed away from that culture? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
Maybe a little bit of both, and maybe something else entirely. Like, to pose another option, and then we can talk about those two options. But it's also entirely possible that they started living life and having their own set of questions and dug into some other things. I don't suppose they all went straight atheist or anything, and I don't suppose they were all living false lives. There were certainly some that were making, they were making a killing off of a certain market that was very niche, a niche demographic that was desperate for their parents to let them listen to something that sounded like Limp Bizkit or Korn or other trashy bands. That were way better than the trashy bands that we listened to. But I digress. But like, there was a culture of kids that weren't allowed to listen to mainstream stuff, and we wanted to, and that was a void that was filled very quickly once it was acceptable for Christians to have tattoos and be rock stars and all that stuff. And when they left, I don't know. I can understand some of them also leaving because they grew out of that space and they wanted to progress onto, more mainstream success. There were, some that I'm sure got sick of playing for youth groups and whatnot and not being taken seriously outside of that culture. And there are some that still do that scene today and do it very well, and I commend them for it. But I don't remember exactly what your question was. I think I addressed that and 12 more. I don't know.
you hit it. Like you hit it. So, and the whole like deconstruction, then reconstruction thing that, Josh Dies talks about in that book. And, like, it's been a while since I've read it. So like you probably for you as well.
I don't remember a lot.
That whole thing is like, kind of is like it's almost like a prodigal sons type of story. But, I don't know, like one thing that like Josh kind of like points to is that he actually says that people are like abandoning their faith more out of trendiness, instead of like honest searching for more answers, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I just think that like, looking for more answers is just like a natural thing. Like, I feel like it even says that like in the Bible, like, you're always going to be searching, and, you can't possibly fathom everything. Like, you can never fully understand everything.
Who was the dude in the Bible that was like praised for wrestling with God? Like,
yeah, right. Well,
but
I think it's more about like that whole like thing is like kind of more about like bad church experiences than actually like having like gripes with God or the faith itself.
It's people.
Honestly.
And I mean, certainly there are questions like the question of suffering and the question of death and all that stuff. I've got a lot of questions, but that doesn't make me like, just because I don't understand why something doesn't mean there isn't a reason. Even if there's nothing that I could ever see in my life, I don't think, that could make my brain process why an all divine creator would let children be raped, and murdered and slaughtered and shit. Like, I can't ever fathom that on this earth, let alone understanding this concept of hell, which I don't even frankly believe in anymore, and I'm open to being proven wrong, and I am not happy to be wrong, but I can't wrap my brain around these things. That doesn't mean that they're not true. Same as the biblical inerrancy and stuff like that.
I don't think our minds are like meant to understand all this though. Like, our brains are not even like big enough to fully understand all this stuff. Like, like,
I mean, if we could understand the thing that created us, like, is that thing a god anymore if we have all the understanding that it has?
Right. Like, I don't know. Like, I definitely feel like, I don't know, I tell people this and it sounds like really cheesy and hippie almost, but like, I'm a hunter and I love to hike. I love the outdoors. I feel like a lot more like connected to, my spiritual side when I'm out hunting or hiking than I do at a church. And like I feel like
Or in a
maybe
mosh
that's
pit,
how it's
you know?
supposed to be. Maybe you know, like maybe that's how it should be. But like you know, like I definitely like walked away from the church for a while. And it was because of Christians. It wasn't because I was questioning my faith. It's because Christians, like it's just like the LP. Like when people leave the LP, it's because libertarians fucking suck. We suck, dude. Like, and we can't like just like admit that we have like a toxic work environment here. Like it is. It's terrible. And like we're always fighting with each other all the time. Like, so we shouldn't be surprised when like the party is in this immense decline and everyone's just like
when nobody
leaving.
wants to join.
Nobody wants to join. Everyone's like letting their membership lapse.
Who wants to pay to be a part of a fight?
Yeah, stupid.
Not like a fight for freedom or liberty or anything, but an internal fight about bylaws and shit.
But I'll tell you what, a couple years ago, I was fired up. I was like, this is a fight for liberty. You know, we're going to get the party taken over, and then Dave Smith's going to run for president, and we're going to have so much liberty, dude.
Yep, I was there with you, man.
Dude, I know, man.
And then again, when Trump was running, no joke. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, there's some good stuff here. There's some good stuff here. And then we got John McCain in an orange suit.
Yeah, no matter who you vote for, you get Benjamin Netanyahu, brother. So
more accurate.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. Like I have so much frustration built up about the LP, but it's also like about the church. And
this is a very niche podcast, just jumping from music to spirituality to libertarianism.
I know, man. And I'm trying to get this podcast away from Libertarian Party so bad, but I just have to complain and get the rest.
Ride that niche wave as far as you can take it. You know?
Yeah, I guess. But you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like the whole purpose of this show is to bring people on, and it's really like I think we've talked about this before. I believe that music drives culture a lot better than a lot of politics does. A lot of my political opinions were formed from music I listened to. And some of that was Christian bands too, that like formed a lot of my spiritual beliefs. And you know, now I'm at the point where like I can see things more objectively. I see the world for like more like how it is. Maybe not all the way. Shit. Yeah, we've been through some shit. We've seen it, and we've you know, I've gone through my like deconstruction, if you want to call it that, phase, and also my reconstruction phase of where I am today, which is a completely comfortable spot in my faith. Like I'm not questioning what I believe at all, and I know that I'm not going to have the answers to everything. But you know, I have like this thing like. Music, I think, is an important thing because it heals people. You go to a show, we talked about it earlier a little bit. It's a community, and like it's actually like pretty therapeutic. It's actually most of the time a pretty healing environment to go to a show and like to sing MCR at the top of your lungs out with a bunch of complete strangers.
Yep.
It's an awesome place to be.
I felt God more in a mosh pit than at church, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm not dogging on church either. I've had a lot of great churches and that I've been a part of, and have nothing against churches in general. I have things against specific churches and specific people, but yeah, I get more out of different types of music, different types of interactions, and feel like I feel and see God more in those experiences and those communities than I do in a lot of the church communities.
I think that like that old school, you know, like the real, like authentic Christian hardcore bands, we need to have like a revival service, man. And we need to have like a mosh pit. The Chariot needs to headline too.
Oh yeah.
You know, because so we can all feel that.
Chariot on my phone.
Oh, dude,
my first
I love that. I love that. I'm waiting for I know it's got to happen at some point. Inevitably, they got to have like a reunion show at some point.
Yeah.
Sad. But anywho, so you also like you host the System is Down podcast, and you are.
You caught yourself there. I know. Heard it. Everyone does it.
Yeah. But you like. Obviously, you kind of navigate through a lot of like the controversies with, you know, certain things. And you kind of like blend it with like humor and also seriousness, because like, you know, like we're talking about like real world problems here, but like, I think it's important to bring humor into that, because if we can't make fun of ourselves, man, like what can we do?
And if the world's ending, like, what are you going to do but laugh at it if you can't stop it? And, you know, if you can stop it, it's probably by laughing at it and by talking about it, sometimes being serious about it, sometimes cracking wise and telling dick jokes, and flipping the bird to the powers that be, because the emperor's clothes are completely gone and his ass is hanging out. Like we try to be the jesters to some degree. Like we're gonna inform people of me and my co-host Dave. Our goal is to, you know, mostly just hang out and chat with each other, but that turns into making fun of all the news and the dumb headlines of the day, and Trump pretending like Epstein never existed and all that shit. So we get into serious topics and give it all the due respect that it deserves, which is none.
I love it, man, because like I feel like, you know, Twitter's kind of a niche place, especially like we all kind of like make fun of like the same things as well. But you know, it's important to bring humor into like the dark stuff, or otherwise your world's just gonna be dark all the time. You know, and like I think that like Dave is awesome too. He's obviously been on the show too, and I've got to talk about like his days with was it Medina Lake? Is that what it was?
He always brags about touring with all of my favorite bands that I never got to see.
It's so funny. Like I can't even remember what year he said he played Warped Tour. I don't think it was the same year that I was at Warped Tour, but those were the days. But I don't know, man. Like I feel like it's definitely like one of those things where, you know, podcasts are like, when I was constantly just talking about the Libertarian Party, though, I felt like I was obligated to keep just having libertarians on all the time. And that's like literally not the reason I started this show. Like, I don't like care to talk about libertarians at all.
Yeah.
But I get that happening, obviously.
Yep.
And, you know, like I really like kind of just like want to like talk to people and hear their stories and figure out like how they're impacting the culture and stuff like that. And I think you're doing a good job with your show. And your music and your artwork, your awesome video work. Like
I mean, a lot of my work is libertarian work, so it's fine if there's some cross section there. But
of course, yeah. I think that like you're using like your artwork though to like impact the culture in a very like positive way, and that's kind of like what I try to do with my show, like with music and with all this stuff. Is like we want to, you know, do what we're good at, find our niche, and like stick to it, and that's like our best contribution to liberty. Yep. Like. This isn't like being a podcast host isn't like my biggest strength for liberty. Like I'm doing this because it's fun. I like to talk to people and hear the stories and stuff. But like there's like certain like people they know what they're good at, but then they get bogged down by trying to like immerse themselves into some political party, no matter what party it is. They get teased and they're like, oh, we'll make you like a state chair or we'll make you a treasurer. And it's like, here's your prize. Yep. I've always known for a long time that's all.
I've had many parties try sucking me into the politics of it. I'm like, no, I'm the art guy who's here to make art. You hired me for art. Do not expect me to sit in and vote on your bylaws. I will literally come and film you voting on bylaws and somehow make it look interesting, even though it was not interesting in any way, shape, or form. But you're not hiring me to vote for you to be dog catcher of the week.
Right. Well, like, you know, like this is your thing. Like maybe Rechtenwald's better at, you know, smoking weed and writing books than running for president, you know, and
I think that's been proven.
Lars, Lars is better at like doing business startups than probably running for president, you know, and like, I think that like the liberty movement would be so much stronger if people just like recognize what they're good at and they stuck to it. And you've done it. Like you are the most consistent motherfucker I know, dude. Like you've been doing this since I met you. So you know, Dave Smith's obviously, as we both know, huge coward.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how he can say he's the most consistent motherfucker when he spent a year saying he was going to run for president, or hinting, and Robbie saying he was going to run for president, and letting everybody else say he's going to run for president, then didn't run for president. I'm sorry, you're not only a coward, but you're at least inconsistent one time in your life. So I got you beat there. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I feel like there's a new king there, like a new throne, and you know, you should do everything you can to like claim that publicly. So
from
he
the
can just
prestigious chair of the New Hampshire Libertarian Party, bestowed upon me the most consistent motherfucker award. I appreciate it.
I did. Yeah. I also was considering giving Kanye West a lifetime membership. So I
I
think that
mean,
was a
can
great
you really
assault.
call him consistent? Because he's
No,
he's
not
been a
for
roller coaster.
consistency. Not for consistency. No, he's just the greatest rap producer of all time. So
Sure.
that's the only reason. So,
Gotcha.
anyways, so gotta digress. You were just at Ron Paul's 90th birthday celebration, and I know
Yes.
you were doing some video work there, right?
Yes.
How was it? I'm so jealous that you were able to go. I wanted to be there.
Yeah. I can brag it up. That's fine. Yeah, I got to be
Brag
there.
it up, man.
It was a great time. It's the how do I put this? I've been to a lot of libertarian events, a lot of conventions, state ones and national ones, and I've been to Pork Fest, and I've been to, I don't know, different random odds and ends for libertarian things, and of all of them, this one had the least amount of fighting that I've ever seen at a libertarian event.
That's amazing.
And the reason is because, well, when you did emo night your first time at Pork Fest, I went, and afterwards I said that it's such a beautiful thing to have such a niche crossover there of people who probably are going to get along because they're libertarians who also liked a certain style of music. So getting those people together, you're probably going to have less fighting, and people are just there to have a good time and enjoy the same type of music together. At this type of thing, this is like not just libertarians, like libertarians and Republicans who aren't just there to celebrate liberty or vote on a presidential candidate or anything. They were there to celebrate the life of one man and one man only, which is the great Dr. Ron Paul. And not only were they there to do that, but they paid not a cheap price for even general admission to go to this thing. So if they paid the money, like there were no haters that were paying the money to get in there and tell Ron Paul he's a racist for blah, blah, blah. Everybody was just there for him. And even people who were on different ends of the liberty spectrum, they all had to some degree learned from Ron Paul enough to respect where he is today in order to be there. And I imagine that his attitude towards disagreements and such things, and his hospitality and just amazing humanness has rubbed off on all the people that are willing to pay, several $100s just to attend his birthday party. So yeah, it was a great time. It was an amazing time. And yeah, saw a lot of friends, interviewed a lot of people, took a lot of video, and good stuff all around.
I mean, Ron Paul was like a culture builder. Like he was one of those guys, like he created a whole new community in the liberty movement in general. Like before him, like we were like waiting for this like messiah to show up to put our, everything behind. And then for some reason we still didn't do it. Not good enough. But like the people who like got behind Ron Paul were brought into liberty from Ron Paul. Like we all like can agree that he was right about everything, and like he really did truly create, like, I think like he brought like, hope. It was more than anything. He gives a message of hope of like how,
if there was anything Ron Paul wasn't right about, he was being honest about it. Like
100%. Yep.
You don't get to Ron Paul status of love without being a true human that he was.
Yeah. I think that like basing the revolution around the idea of like love too, that was a huge part of that. Like we are all part of a community, and like we all, want this thing to keep growing. And when it comes to, liberty, I think that like we did a really good job of squashing all that with all of our infighting. Yeah. And that's why people like me, being on the board or not, I am absolutely disgusted by how things, we both probably dedicated thousands of dollars and hours of time to this, to this party and to the liberty movement, and to see certain people just hell bent on deconstructing the Libertarian Party.
Sure.
For, it's pretty gross.
It is. So how are you making this deconstruction argument in the Libertarian Party? Do you think people are just overthinking it and infighting too much, or do you think that they're just losing interest because they're much like many of the former evangelical Christians are doing more digging and asking more questions and coming to different conclusions?
Yeah, so I don't think that people are leaving the party because they're like leaving the faith of libertarianism. I think it's because of like the libertarian baggage. Like like there's just nothing, there's no incentive to be a Libertarian Party member right now. And like, I'm not talking like physical incentive. Being part of like a true community building thing is great and it's beautiful. And I've seen it happen. I'm in Free State Project. Like there's some really great things that are happening outside of this, kind of like toxic place that we found ourselves. And, I feel like the deconstruction isn't because, libertarians aren't deconstructing themselves because they're wrestling with their belief in libertarianism or the principles of liberty or freedom. I think that like we've just created a bad culture to bring people into, and that it's not, that's another thing too. Anymore. It's not like there's no one has like a winning attitude. Cause like, let's truly like be honest. Like, obviously we all know, like, we're not going to win a federal election. It's not going to happen. Like the real shot is obviously with more of like a decentralized revolution, running local candidates where libertarians are actually winning, or move to New Hampshire where we have libertarians running in other parties and they're real Ron Paul libertarians.
He made it 45 minutes in before he asked you to move to New Hampshire. Everyone, it's a new record for a New Hampshire person.
Actually, it might be. But I think that like part of my goal, I guess, like bringing it kind of full circle back with like my whole purpose of this show would be to like reconstruct people in that. Like, I know that like people are frustrated with what's going on with that. And I've had like a lot of libertarians on the show that are like said this exact thing. But like finding your niche and your strength and whatever you can do to help promote a winning culture and an attitude, like wherever you go, if you have that mindset of you're going to be successful, like I think that like you can do a lot of really good things with that. And dude, you've been a very successful guy with all of this. Like your videos are like second to literally none. Like they're the best in what we got. And I think that people can agree that the message that you bring forth with those videos is like beautiful. Like the Defend the Guard video that you had put together, what was for LPNH actually, or Friends of LPNH officially, but it was, get behind a cause and you're using it to help promote ideas of freedom and, without immersing yourself and weighing yourself down with the bureaucracy that is an actual political party.
Yes, many such cases. And there was a time in my career that I had hoped that the Libertarian Party would love me so much that they would give me a job and they would hire me to make all the LP videos and we'd be super based and awesome. And Michael Malice would run the Twitter and yada, 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 all the things that were going to be great. But I am so glad that I was never hired by anybody. I'm so glad that I continued to just hope and pray for the next thing to come along that would pay the bills enough to get to the next thing to come along, to pay the bills enough to get to the really fun things that and the exciting things and the much more rewarding things that I've gotten to with like the free Roger Vera campaigns, the free Ian Freeman campaign, the free Roman Storm campaigns. Now working on this video for Thomas Massey, and hopefully might be talking to some people in the Paul camp soon as well. So nice. I'm really glad that I followed breadcrumbs, I guess, down these different avenues and took chances that I didn't know where things were going. I didn't know where my next meal was coming from, but God provided. And by my abilities that were granted to me by whoever made me. I thank him and everybody else for believing in me enough to get me to this point that I can, feed my family off of making art for I don't even want to say liberty or libertarianism, but just truth and things that are true, and helping people propagandize people into waking up from lies that they were propagandized into.
You're the best propaganda maker that I've seen. So it's amazing. And and honestly, just because you said it, now I feel like my last move before when I, inevitably, I'm not on the LNC anymore. I have to like make sure I put forward a motion to hire you to do all of their videos.
You're gonna make me turn them down.
I feel like I got to put you in that spot now.
Well, if it's a loose contract, we can work something out. I'll take their work. There's no problem there. There's no hard
Trust me, brother. The LP is all about loose contracts, my man. So, like,
I'm familiar with how libertarians roll.
Crazy shit, man. So,
yeah. Good times.
But yeah, man. So coming up on the hour, but really appreciate you coming on. I guess like tying everything into maybe death deconstruction, where you are in your personal life with your faith and with your projects. What's a good message you'd like to leave people with on that?
I guess I would leave people with be open-minded, even if you know what is true. Just be open-minded. It's not as scary as some Christians even would have you believe. Like, I remember seeing the little brochures at church that were like, an open mind is like, it will fall on the floor or something. I don't know. And I just don't buy that. I think that God expects us to wonder. He expects us to marvel at his creation and marvel at all of the works that have been done and all the history, and to explore the history and explore what smarter people than me have dug into and come to conclusions on, even if they knew exactly what they believed and why they believed it. Good, great. I hope probably somebody knows exactly what's true. I just don't. I don't know that they could convince me that it is still 100% true. I do believe that we have a higher creator who created us, many of us, to create things. And if you were created to create things, then you should do it, even if it's not paying you at the moment, because it might pay you sometime, and there will be rewards if you were supposed to do it anyway. And I guess, like, no matter, well, find a camera that works for a webcam better than mine. That would be another recommendation I would give to people. And yeah, just I don't know, be honest with yourself. I don't want to say like follow your dreams and shit, because that's not what it is. Like,
Right.
humble yourself and try and figure out what it is you were created for, more so.
That's great, man. Where can people find you, find your stuff, and hire you for making the most base videos to ever exist?
While my camera is still off, I will say you can hire me to make your videos at dissidentmedia.com or goulashmedia.com. You can find my podcast at thesystemsdown.tv or at TSIDpod on Twitter, or wherever the Systems Downs are sold.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm going to drop you backstage real quick. We'll talk in a minute.
Awesome.
I'll wrap up the show. And
Cool,
thank you, man. All right, guys. Thanks for watching tonight. And I have actually no clue who my next guest is because I have been slacking on the schedule. But I know that I'll definitely have a show next week, whether it be on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Trying to be a little bit less strict on the schedule these days because I don't want this podcast to own me. I'm doing this for fun, and because I think that, the people who tune into this, you guys make this all worth it. And I love just talking to people. So I'm glad you guys stuck around, and hope you guys appreciated the conversation. Every show is going to have something different. Today we talked a lot about faith, like me and Dan's faith, but got a lot of music and stuff, good musical guests probably coming up, and hopefully a lot less politics, or at least less brand politics. So hope you guys have a good night, and I will catch you guys next weekend sometime. All right. Bye.
Coming for the